Hi, this is immigration attorney Christian Zeller. It is Friday, November 7th, and today I'm reporting from my home office in Florida. I'm giving you an update on what the government shutdown means for immigration services. So, when the government shuts down because the Congress hasn't approved a budget, most employees at government agencies are told not to come to work, so they are furloughed. Only staff considered essential for safety or security are allowed to come to work. So in immigration courts, the EOIR, the current status is that people who are not detained, those cases are proceeding normally, as usual, which is actually great. Detained cases, of course, for people in detention are also continuing, which is even more important. Now, action for you is always check the EOIR Immigration Court operational status website for the latest updates on your specific court or hearing. And if your hearing is postponed or reset, the court will typically mail a new hearing notice to persons or their legal representative. The USCIS, the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, the agency most of you and we deal with, mostly normal actually, because the USCIS is mainly funded by the fees it charges, so most of its operations continue as normal. You can still file applications and petitions. There are potential delays because USCIS relies on other agencies like the Department of Labor for certain steps, so some cases may be slowing down. The USCIS has also stated it is prioritizing resources to focus on national security concerns, which may impact processing times for public-facing interactions like interviews and, of course, naturalization ceremonies. Suspended or impacted are programs that are funded by the Congress, such as E-Verify. This system is currently unavailable and employers cannot access accounts and employees cannot resolve any mismatches that the system has generated in the past. I-9 verification. Employers must still complete Forms I-9 for all new hires, but if E-Verify is unavailable, employers in good standing may still use the alternate review process for remote I-9 document verifications. And so the deadline for E-Verify cases is generally extended once the system is back online. We'll get more information on that when it's back open up. The Conrad 30 J1 doctors program is suspended and not being processed. Special immigrant religious worker programs. This program for non-minister religious workers expired on September 30th, 2025, and petitions are being rejected unless Congress is going to reauthorize it. The EB5 Immigrant Investor Regional Center Program is expected to continue as its authorization is through September 30th of 2027, but I will tell you we have not received any particular notices for petitions that we have submitted. Late filings. In the past, USCIS has shown flexibility and accepted late filings specifically on Forms I-129 if the primary reason for the delay was the government shutdown, but I would not want to rely on that. Now, the Department of Labor, the DOL, there has been a partial resumption. So the DOL's Office of Foreign Labor Certifications, or otherwise known as OFLC, has suspended all activity but has announced a partial return to operations. The flag system and websites are back operational, restored, and accessible. Very, very important for perm applications and, of course, H-1B LCAs. H-2A and H-2B temporary labor certifications can also be processed at this point. Still paused and unclear is, while the systems are up, initial reports from immigration law experts suggest that the labor condition application LCAs for H-1Bs, H-1B1, and E-3s are still suspended, paused, and not being certified. We are not quite sure about that yet because it typically takes several days to get a certified LCA, so we are still waiting to see whether applications that we have submitted are actually coming back. There are delays due to the pause. Employers should not expect longer than usual processing and response times as the DOL handles the backlog. And the DOL court docket, of course, that's BALCA, the Board of Alien Labor Certification Appeals, and DOL administrative law judges, that docket remains completely on hold at this point. At the State Department, as you know, processes visas and passports. Generally, they are unaffected by this. The visa and passport services are paid for by fees, so they are usually not impacted. Consular operations domestically and abroad are generally running. The potential risk, of course, is if the shutdown is prolonged and a specific consulate or embassy has insufficient fee funds, services may be limited to diplomatic visas and life or death emergencies, as we have seen during past shutdowns. Now, Customs and Border Protection, that's the CBP, and Immigration and Customs Enforcement, that's ICE. They're all essential staff, so all inspections, law enforcement, and security personnel are considered essential, and they're all working. The CBP at the ports of entry will remain open, and passenger processing will continue. However, processing certain applications filed at the border, such as TNs or L1s from Canada at land borders, may be impacted by a reduction in support staff, but we have not heard anything definitive yet. ICE enforcement and removal operations will continue. I know you're all watching the news and reading the news, so we know that that is happening. ICE lawyers are focusing on representing the government in detained immigration court cases, and the Student and Exchange Visitor Program, or SEVP, is also fee funded, and it is unaffected by the government shutdown. And finally, our congressional constituent services, some congressional offices that help constituents with case inquiries may be closed, but you'll need to contact your specific senator or representative's office to find out about their operating status. So there you have it. That's the government shutdown. This is the update. Stay tuned and don't forget to subscribe to immigrationhelpchannel.com.